Welcome to all of you in this GS यूनिवर्सिटी लेक्चर। सभी को प्रणाम। मैं चंद्रशेखर, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर GS यूनिवर्सिटी CIS कैंपस कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन। We are discussing the geography, and in the last lecture we have discussed the motion of the earth, that is revolution. And in the revolution we have discussed how we have the increasing or the decreasing time duration of particular day and night, and also how on the different time period of the year we are getting the different seasons. Before that we have discussed the rotation, but here in this lecture we need to discuss something big point about the revolution. And today the topic we are going to discuss is heat zone of earth, because on the same earth we have the different heat zone. Why are these heat zones are happening on the different places? This is our today's topics, and this is one of the most important topics in respect of particularly in the physical geography, and one of the most important topics in respect of our understanding of the human geography or the biogeography, because geography is nothing else, I repeat, geography is nothing else but the mismatch between what? Temperature and pressure. What we call in other terms density, particularly in respect of physical geography. So whenever you have the variation in temperature and in the corresponding respect you are not getting the adequate pressure, then the difference is emerged, a mismatch is generated, from where we are going to start the study of geography. The history is the combination of dates, the polity is the combination or the byproduct of the terms, political terms or the constitutional terms, whereas the economy is the whole game of mismatch between the demand and the supply. So like whereas the geography, particularly the physical geography, is the study of the why there is a mismatch between the density, that is the pressure, and the temperature, whether it is internal beneath the surface of the earth or the crust of the earth, or external. So heat zone, as we know that temperature is the byproduct of the corresponding heat, and the only sun and the only source in our solar system of the heat, ultimate heat, or the primary source of the generation of the heat is sun. Sun, we are going to study the sun rays in the corresponding of shape of the earth, and in the first segment we are assuming, and what we are assuming, this I will discuss little bit later. Before starting the proper lecture, I need to explain you. You people just have to understand the lecture by putting your hands down, because the lecture is in respect of only or your understanding. The written, completed, point wise, as well as the descriptive and the color notes you peoples are getting through a link, and the link has been provided in your description box. In the description box, at least 2 links you peoples are getting. One is of that page on which you are getting this topic, and the uppermost link, the first link, is directly of this topic. So just by clicking on the links you are getting the complete colored point wise and the descriptive note of every topic, as well as in the corresponding of this topic. So now we are starting our lecture in the proper manner, and we know that the earth is a sphere, but we also know that the earth is not a complete sphere. So the shape to which we are getting from the present structure is a geoid, and I have already explained what is geoid. In the geoid shape of the structure, the earth is little bit compressed on the north pole and the south pole, that on both the poles earth is little bit compressed, and from the middle it is little bit bulge. So when the sphere got compressed on the poles and bulged at the middle, the shape of the earth then called geoid. Bhuab, geoid. And we are assuming, had the earth been in this cylindrical form, we are assuming, had the earth been in this cylindrical form and not in the geoid shape, as we know, we can settle 109 earth in the present shape of the sun. Had the earth been in this cylindrical form, now look, these are the sun rays, and every sun rays is encountered with the surface of the earth with the same intensity. Had the earth been in this cylindrical form, suppose this portion of my hand, from the hand to the albedo, is the earth, and here is the sun. So the sun rays are coming towards my hand and getting encountered with the same intensity, because the shape from the upper to the lower section is same. This is not the case in the shape of the earth. From the upper to the lowermost point, the shape is continuously changing, bulging. We are moving toward the little bit form of the bulge, and then at the reaching point of the maximum point of the bulge, we are again moving toward the compressional point of the earth. So we know the earth is not in the cylindrical form, but earth shape is a geoid, and for the time being we are assuming the earth is in the spherical form, not in the geoid form. We are assuming earth in the spherical form, actually earth in the geoid form. So for the time being we are assuming the earth is in the complete ideal shape of spherical form. And in the spherical form, when the sun rays are coming towards the earth, in the middle portion, that is the little bit bulge, they are encountered with the same intensity. But moving from the northward beyond 20° north and moving from the southward beyond 20° south, because of the shape of the earth, now the sun rays start to slanting, तिरछी होने लगती हैं. From the 20° north up to not 20° north, beyond the 20° north and the beyond the 20° south, sun rays start to be slanted. पृथ्वी के सूर्य की किरणें तिरछी होना प्रारंभ हो जाती हैं, just because the shape of the earth. Had the earth been in the cylindrical form, the slanting could not be happen over there. The slanting is happening just because the shape of the earth. In the geoid shape, earth look like this, and if you see this, it is not a complete or the ideal shape of the earth. And from this portion, that is the Tropic of the Cancer, to the Tropic of the Capricorn, earth is little bit bulged and somehow flat. Right? Somehow near to flat. So when the sun rays are coming to this portion, when the sun rays are coming to this portion, sorry for the disturbance. they are encountered with the same speed, same intensity, because they are coming perpendicular to this portion of the earth. Lambavat. They are coming perpendicular to this portion of the earth. Which portion? From the Tropic of the Cancer and the Tropic of the Capricorn. So if you are the sun and these are the sun rays, so the sun rays are perpendicular in this portion. This is the sun rays. Sun rays are perpendicular, sun rays is perpendicular to this portion. Beyond this portion, sun rays start to slanting. And at the 90° north, 100% slanting. Then moving from the 90° north toward the equator, the slanting angle start to decreasing. Then perpendicular from the Tropic of the Cancer up to the Tropic of the Capricorn, and again start to slanting. And at the South Pole, 100% slanting form of the sun rays. So the portion which is receiving the perpendicular sun rays certainly will have the highest intensity of heat. If it is getting the highest intensity of the heat, surface will be heated more and the temperature will be high. The portion in which we are getting the slanting sun rays is known as torrid zone, and this torrid zone is from equator up to the 23.5° north and from the equator up to the 23.5° south. This whole zone is known as torrid zone. Torrid means heat. How heat? Very much heat. So the average temperature is plus 30° centigrade, whereas the maximum temperature of the day, particular day, is 50° centigrade, and the minimum temperature of the night is 0 to 5° centigrade. Average temperature is 30° centigrade, maximum temperature is 50° centigrade, and the minimum temperature is 0 to 5° centigrade at the night. So the portion which is receiving the perpendicular sun rays is known as the torrid zone. Because it is receiving throughout the year the perpendicular sun rays, it is getting the highest amount of the heat, and the temperature is the byproduct of the heat. That's why this region is having the maximum temperature. Right? Now, so this zone is known as the torrid zone, and when the sun is on the Tropic of the Cancer, the date is 21st of June, and when the sun in this zone at the Tropic of the Capricorn, the date is known as 22nd of December. Why this is happening? Because of the inclination of Earth on its axis. We have discussed the torrid zone. I am moving from the temperate zone. I am moving to the temperate zone from the torrid zone. That's why I am discussing, because the vertical sun rays are not crossing over from the Tropic of the Cancer or the Tropic of the Capricorn, and because of the axis inclination by the 23.5°, this zone is created. And on the 21st of June, we have discussed this detail. We have discussed it in detail in the last lecture of our revolution. So on the 21st of June, the sun is on the Tropic of the Cancer, and the 22nd of December, the sun is on the Tropic of the Capricorn, and this is the result because of the Earth inclination on its axis by the 23.5°. So the next zone, post-torrid zone, is the temperate zone, and in the temperate zone, we are getting the slanting sun rays. We are getting the slanting sun rays from the vertical sun rays at the 23.5°. When we move toward the northward, the sun rays start to slanting, and also from the Tropic of the Capricorn, when we are moving from the Tropic of the Capricorn toward the Antarctic Circle, the sun rays start to be slanting. Sorry. So this is zone where we have the slanting sun rays, and we equally have the heat and the cold, equally had the summer and the winter. That zone is known as temperate zone. In the torrid zone, we only have heat, or in the climate terminology, summer. In the temperate zone is the combination of heat and summer and winter. Summer plus winter. Why? Because from the 21st of June, now the sun start to move toward the equator, 23rd of September, and then on the earth, then the sun situated on the tropic of the Capricorn at the 22nd of December. So that means the sun is in the southern pole, that's why we have the winter in the northern hemisphere. And at the time when the sun was on the 21st of June in the northern hemisphere, we are having the winter in the southern hemisphere, and this is happening just because of the inclination of the earth on its axis. We have detailed discussion in our last lecture, that is the revolution of the earth. So temperate zone is the combination of the summer and the winter because of the earth inclination on its axis. This is the secondary factor, and the primary factor is because of the slanting sun rays. Just because of the slanting sun rays, the earth is receiving, the surface of the temperate zone is receiving the less intensity heat in the comparison of the torrid zone. And if it is receiving the less heat in comparison of the torrid zone, certainly the temperature will be the moderate. So in the temperate zone, it is the combination of the summer and the heat, and the average temperature is 0 to 20 degrees centigrade. Look out the range. The range of the average temperature is itself 0 to 20 degrees centigrade, because when the sun at the tropic of the Capricorn, the maximum average temperature is 20 degrees centigrade, and when the sun is at the tropic of the Capricorn, the minimum average temperature is 0 degree centigrade, whereas the maximum temperature can go up to the plus 40 degrees centigrade to the minus 20 to 40 degree centigrade. So the range is from plus 40 to minus 40. This is known as the temperate zone. In the temperate zone, we are getting the season. So the zone, the only zone of the earth from where we are getting the transformation of the season is temperate zone, because in the torrid zone we have throughout the year heat, that is the summer, and the frigid zone throughout the year we have the cold. This is the middle zone, which is the combination of the summer and the winter, and here we have the season. And our summer solstice and the winter solstice also happening in the temperate zone. Summer solstice plus winter solstice also the byproduct of the temperate zone. Beyond the temperate zone, that is from the Arctic Circle up to the North Pole, and from the Antarctic Circle up to the South Pole, the zone we know as a frigid zone. Why the frigid zone? Because the sun rays are so much slanting that the earth's surface is not able to receive the heat. If the earth's surface is not able to receive the heat, the temperature will not be generated over here, and if the temperature is not generated over here, the cold will prevail and everything goes into the frigid mode, frosting mode. That's why this is known as a frigid zone. The extension of the frigid zone in the North Pole is from the Arctic Circle to the North Pole, and from the Antarctic Circle to the South Pole. How it is happening? This is the Earth, ideal sphere form, and now assume the Earth is in the geoid form, that is somehow compressed at the pole and bulged from the middle. And these are the sun rays are coming. If the sun rays are coming, slanting angle is so much high that the Earth's surface is not able to trap the heat from the sun rays. or I would say the earth's surface is not able to trap the sun rays, and that's why the sun rays are bypassed. The sun rays are bypassed. Here 100% encountered and the brought dead to this surface and the complete absorption by the earth's surface, and here the 100% slanting. That's why the earth's surface is not able to absorb the sun heat. And because the earth's surface is not able to absorb the sun heat, this zone is created, which is known as a frigid zone. So in the middle we have the torrid zone. At both the corner of the torrid zone we have the temperate zone up to the 66.5 degree north and 66.5 degree south, and then beyond that up to the both the pole we have the frigid zone. The zone of the earth, again we repeat, the zone of the earth are the byproduct of the surface, the shape of the earth, and somehow only it is certain, and zone of the earth are the byproduct of the shape of the earth and inclination of earth on its axis by the 23.5 degree west. That's why we have the different heat zone of the earth. We have the different heat zone on the earth. If we have the different temperature, certainly the climatic variation should be different in all these three zones. The vegetational differences should also be there. The flora and the fauna differences should also be there. Yes, these are. And in the next topic, that is the heat zone of the earth part second, we are going to discuss how the temperature and the pressure are playing the game over these zones and how we have the differentiation in the climate, vegetation and the fauna respected perspectives. So thank you for all. I hope you people have understood this lecture. If still there is an inquiry, you can write in the comment box. If you are not getting the answer or are not satisfied with my answer, then you can WhatsApp me to the directly. The number has been given in the profile picture of this GS University channel. And still you people if not are satisfied, then you can call me directly. You can download your notes by the description links given in the descriptive box of this lecture. Thank you for all. सभी को प्रणाम, नमस्कार.